will put them in a OneDrive link and send it to you guys. And that way, if you miss anything, or you want to go back and look at it, or you just want to hit it again because you missed a class, whatever else, should be available to you. It takes a little bit of time for OneDrive to give me those. Actually, I guess it's Teams that's giving me those recordings. And so I generally do it the next day. I won't do it the same night, because I've sat around and waited an hour for them and they never showed up until the next day. So you can expect to see them in the OneDrive folder the next day, and then I will send you guys a link to that folder. Now, I have struggled with OneDrive quite a bit. Hopefully with this class, mostly with just the last class, hopefully this time around it'll be a lot smoother. All right. There is this raise your hand icon or react that I'm putting mine on right now so you can see that. And I think everybody can see that probably if you just have your Teams thing open. But please give me a raise of hand for everyone that does have the MySql and the MySql Workbench both installed. Right. So if you were able to follow the instructions and get it installed, go ahead and give me a raised hand. Okay.
I want to say I got MySql installed, but not the Workbench. When you say that, what are you referring to?
So Workbench, well, that's a good question actually, and one that we're going to dive into a little bit. But so MySql is the actual relational database system. And then the Workbench is basically kind of like VS Code. It's how we interact with it, right? It's how we write the code and do the scripting and all that. Okay.
Okay. I don't think I got that then. So.
Okay. All right. So I'm not seeing that hardly anybody has it, right? Which is fine. It's no big deal. We'll just spend some time going through it. All right. Okay. Well, so here's what we'll do then, is we will go through the install of it. And then, if you have any questions along the way or whatever, let me know. My system, I'll go ahead and share my screen, but it's going to be a little bit different. Is anybody here not on Windows? Right, is anybody here using a Mac or some other kind of computer? Okay, Christian, what are you using?
It's a MacBook.
Okay, and then Jazz?
A Mac.
Okay, so y'all's will just be a little bit different. Normally, I actually do use a Mac. I actually loaned that out to a developer friend of mine because he had to send his MacBook into Apple to get work done, and he needed something to do his work. And so I am on basically one of my backup rigs, which is actually a Linux machine. So it'll be most similar to the Mac, but with MySql and with MySql Workbench, actually the easiest one is Windows. All right, and so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen, and then we can, let's see here, entire screen. I wonder if that'll share both my screens. What will it do? Screen one. All right. All right, so can you guys see my screen and see MySql Workbench?
Yep.
All right, cool. All right, so I am going to come over here to a web browser. And the first thing we need to do, and if you've already done this part, that's cool, just stick around. But yeah, if you've already done this, this won't apply to you. I think in the calendar invite, maybe there was a link to, let's see here. That's the coursework. That's videos on how to do it. Okay, I guess I didn't actually include a link to that place to download it. That's my bad. I'll make sure to do that. But if you just Google MySQL, installer, let's find that, and it'll look like this, right? So download MySQL installer. Let's click that. Now, it can get a little funky here because they build MySQL for just all kinds of different things, right? And they've got a bunch of different versions of it. And so those folks of you that are on Windows, make sure that you click, this 8.0.41 Microsoft Windows. I wonder why we don't have options for other. Let's see, go back here, MySQL installer for Windows. We should have other options. Maybe if you're on
the video. Sorry to interrupt, sir. The video you linked us recommended you clicked on my community's the community server, one screen backward. Yeah. Left column,
here we
fourth
go.
down. Yeah. And I gave
there we go. All right, yeah, this is what I was actually looking for. This one that had all the different ones. Okay, so having said that, let me put this in the chat. Hopefully you guys will be able to see that. Where did my chat go? That is my other work chat. Let's see. Stop sharing for a second, I guess. All right, there we go. Chat. All right, hopefully you guys can see that. Let's go back to sharing my screen. It'll take me a few minutes to get the entire screen, get used to this computer that I'm on. All right, so sometimes it seems like folks can't see the chat. Are you guys able to see that link I put in the chat?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we'll click that, and then let's see here. Okay, all right, just hover over it. All right, so yes, in this case, you'll do the 9. You know what? Let's not do that. For the 8.4, if you haven't, it's no big deal. Pick one. I would, if you haven't picked one yet, then do the 8.44. Whatever operating system you have, I actually have an Ubuntu Linux variation. You guys will probably choose Microsoft Windows. For those of you that are on Macs, it's down here. If you're on a Mac, make sure you choose the right thing here, because if you have a Apple Silicon Mac, like an M1, M2, M3, or M4 Mac, you need to make sure you're downloading the ARM version, okay? These are big files. And if you're on an Intel Mac, then you would be doing an x86 or 64-bit, okay? So those folks on Mac, make sure you're getting the right one. The folks on Windows, 99.99% of the time, this top one is what you need, okay? And you can just download that and then run it, run the installer, and then let's get everybody up to the same spot there, and then we can move on to the workbench. All right.
I have a question.
Yes.
So when I clicked the link, it immediately came to the 9.2 innovation one. It didn't even start with, it started with that one. You're saying to switch it to the 8.4?
Yeah, go ahead and switch it to the 8.4. This LTS, that means long-term service, I think is what it means.
Okay.
Basically, that's the one that is the main one that, if you're making a production app or whatever, that you would use, is the LTS version.
Okay, how
You'll
do
see
you
that
know if your Mac is an ARM or an x86? I never heard that before.
If you go up in the top left corner of your computer, and there's that little Apple symbol up there, click that, and I can't remember if it says about this computer or something, but then there'll be a little pop-up in the middle of your window, and you can share your screen if you want. I can walk you through that.
Okay. I mean, I'm at the about. It says, yeah, MacBook Air,
Your
Sequoia,
your chip should say like Apple M1.
15 point. Oh, what?
For the chip, it should say like Apple M. Like mine says Apple M1. Like right above memory.
Right above memory. Where's that?
Go ahead and share your screen, and we'll take a look.
Okay.
Make sure.
All right.
It's
Let
so
me.
hard.
I'm gonna-
So many different computers and so many different variations. Yeah.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay, can you see my screen?
Let's see. Yep.
Okay, so this, okay, and you're saying here about,
Okay,
oh,
it's
okay.
super blurry. So give me just a second there. Memory. Okay, so you have an Intel chip, right? Your processor there says the
Okay,
1.1
I see
gigahertz
it.
quad core Intel. So you'll download the x86 64-bit, which
Okay,
is, I believe, the second one. Yeah, that's it.
okay.
Now, when you get to this point, just click that no thanks, just start my download link at the bottom. There you go. And yep. Okay, now once that
Oh,
downloads, you should just be able to double click it. You may have to move it into your applications folder. I can't remember. It's been forever since I installed it.
okay. 'Cause it'll be in
All
my
right.
recently downloaded. And then you're
hmm
saying I have to move it again?
Well, double click it once it downloads and then see, what happens.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, you bet. All right. Everybody else moving along? Anybody else need kind of help on that first little step? Let's see. Yeah, I really got to get used to this. Let's see what the coursework has to say about this. Screen one. Okay. And I want to see, because there's actually a little bit of step you do after you install it. Let's see if they go through it. Okay, I think it's. Okay. So you run the installer. Okay. There actually is another step I want you guys to do once you have it. Yeah, all right. All right, everybody moving along? Anybody have any problems? Go ahead and raise your hand once you're done with getting MySql installed. Okay, perfect.
Hey, sir.
Mm-hmm.
So I downloaded MySql. What was the other thing we needed to download?
It'll be MySql Workbench, and it'll be back on that same community downloads page. So that link I sent you, let's see, let me send you this link too.
Is there a version for that or no?
So when you get over there to that, basically, if you select your operating system, it's just probably only going to give you the one for Windows. And so, yeah, just download that
Okay,
and install it.
I see it now. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Chat. Okay. Paste. Whoops. Didn't catch it. Well. Anybody having any roadblocks? Just want to make sure that there's movement. I don't know if those hands go away after a while, but
Sir, is there a particular configuration we're applying to this?
are you talking about MySql or the Workbench?
MySQL.
Yeah, so for MySql, once you have it installed, it should run you kind of through this thing where it asks you to set a root password and all that. Has it done that?
Yeah, I got to that part. I created the sample database just to be on the safe side, and now it's giving me options to apply a configuration.
Oh, no, just no. There's nothing. Just accept the default answers for that as you go through.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right, let's do a show of hands again. Who's got just the MySql part installed? Okay. If you'd raised your hands earlier, it's cleared it. I guess it only stays there for a while. So if you raised your hand earlier, go ahead and do it again.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So after it's downloaded, is anything supposed to like pop up? Because I think it's downloaded, but nothing
Mhm.
like popped up. It was like my computer was asking me if I wanted to put the installer in the trash.
Okay. Go ahead and share your screen again, and let's kind of evaluate and see where it's at.
Oh, well, nothing is okay. Yeah, I'll share, but it's nothing new. Okay. So I did all that, and then they asked me to move it to the if I wanted to move it to the trash, and that was it. Nothing popped up. That's
Okay.
all I did.
So over here on the screen behind the team screen, it's got that downloads. Did you like double click it in there?
Yes, I did that. And then I
Okay.
went through this whole. I opened this.
Mhm.
I went through this whole. Yeah, did all this. It's probably gonna make me go do it again. I double
You can
clicked
just close. You can
everything.
just close it here. Just close that, and then
Okay.
do you know how to open a terminal, like a command line type window?
Mm-mm.
We'll just test to make sure it's there.
No, I didn't.
So go to your applications, or you might be able to hit your command and not command, what is it, option and space bar together to get like a search window.
Oh.
Let's see here. Yeah. All right. So scroll down in that applications list and see if you see terminal. You don't. Okay. Look, expand that utilities and let's see if it's in there. Scroll down. Keep going. Keep going. There we go. Terminal. Double click that. And then type in MySql and then a space and then a dash U, lowercase, and then a
And that.
space, and then a space, and then root, ROOT, and then a space, and then a dash P. Now, for those of you that are paying attention, this is actually how you access MySQL from the command line. All right, go ahead and hit enter. And
Not
so it
found.
wasn't found. So it might
Okay.
be that we just need to add it to your path. Give me just a second and we will troubleshoot that. So let's see.
Oh, look. I see this right here.
Yeah,
Locations.
that's the
That's the
that's the
drive, the
that's the
folder.
installer. Yeah, mounted
Mm-hmm.
it as a drive. Give me just a second to um, do a little bit of research here. So okay, now let's try this. Type in MySQL again. And then a space and then two dashes and then the word version. So dash dash of version. Let's see if it finds it that way. And then hit enter. Okay, so command not found. All right. Let me see if I can, am I able to request control here, I wonder? Used to be a button for that, but I'm using the browser client. Don't see a way to request control. All right, so this is just going to be a little, you know what, let me paste it into the, chat. Okay, copy this from the chat and then paste it in there to that terminal window and then hit enter. Actually, don't do that quite yet. Just paste it in there, but don't hit enter. And if it doesn't want to paste, you just have to type it in there, maybe. Yeah. Okay, now go ahead and put another slash. Okay, you know, you're good. Put a space and then a -u, and then root after another space. So -u space root dash space -p. So root space -p. See if that works. Yep. Okay. So whatever password that you set earlier, go ahead and type that in here. You should have set a password during kind of the install part. There you go. You're actually in MySql talking to it. So you can exit that, and I think it'll be fine just to leave it the way it go. Before you do that, type the word, hit cancel. Go ahead and type the word exit here, and then hit enter. Yeah, and then you can close that terminal. But yeah, you've got it installed, and it should be fine.
Hey, sir.
And then yes.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
You're good.
I think I'm having the same issue.
Okay.
Thank you.
You bet. And is it Jazz that I was just talking to?
Yes.
All right. So go ahead and go back to that that MySql downloads page and download and do the workbench the same way you just did that. Okay.
So just go back.
And let me share my screen real quick.
Okay.
Let's see. Where is? Man, okay. Am I here? There I am. Window, entire screen. No. Yes. No. Share. Yeah, right here, Jazz, and you'll choose where is it?
I cannot see your screen at all.
Okay. Let's see. Workbench, here it is. I'll just put the direct link into the chat. There we go. Okay. Yeah. And just you'll have to pick the Intel version of that too, the x86 64.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. All right. So the other person that was having trouble, you want to share your screen and let's see what you got?
Yes, sir.
Oh, no, yours is running. Now, do you remember the password that you set?
I mean, it won't let me type anything.
Oh, you can't type there? Oh, it is letting you type there. It's just not showing it because it's a password. It's just a weird thing that it does. So hit backspace a bunch of times and then re-enter the password and then hit enter. Yeah, it's not very user friendly.
How do I know if
You can just hit enter right now, and if it's not right, it'll prompt you again.
Okay.
So now hit your up arrow key, and it'll just bring that line. Hit your up arrow key on your keyboard, and there you go. And now just hit enter again. And then whatever password that you set up when it was installing, type that in there and then hit enter. Yeah, you're in. Perfect. So here you can just type exit and close that terminal window. And if you haven't already installed Workbench, use that link I put in the chat. And go install Workbench.
All right, thank you.
You bet. Go ahead and stop sharing real quick. Okay, perfect. All right. Anybody else run into any issues?
Yeah, sir, I got a little bit of a problem. I don't know if it's telling me whenever I do the configuration, it's just stopping at the starting the server. So it fails every time. Is that okay? Do I just go past that or keep trying?
Let's share your screen and let's take a look at it. Okay, so, and if you go back, what happens? Go back some more. Let's just double check Windows service name. Okay, so you put your password in there. That's good. Okay, yeah. All right. Okay. I guess just go. Let's try the. I mean, you just left all that default, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's cool. You just we'll just hit next and go through this. I wonder why next isn't available. Enter the path to the data directory to be in. You know what? Let's cancel this and just relaunch it.
Okay. Here.
Should be like in your downloads probably, or okay. Let's do remove, and then we'll just start over with the start over from scratch. Seems like it's kind of hung there, doesn't it?
Yeah. I can go into that link and try to re-download it again, I guess.
Well, let me think about this here for a second. Let's go to your what is that doing? Is that okay? Yeah, next. And just was taking a little time, huh?
Yeah. I guess it was a large file, so.
Cool. All right. And let's just run it again. See if we have any better luck this time.
Hit the other one.
Okay. Yep. And yep.
So while it installs, I had a quick question.
Yeah.
When I run Workbench, it says that 8.4.4 is not a supported version. Is that okay?
Totally fine. Yeah.
All right. I just want to double check. That's all.
Yep. These things are both like open source-ish type things. I mean, they're kind of hosted by Oracle. You see down there at the bottom of this webpage, it says Oracle. And frankly, you know, as a database system, it's good. It's really good. But the pieces around it, like MySQL Workbench, you know, it's a bit of a mess. When you have an open source project, you know, you got a lot of people's different ideas going into it. And so, you know, people have different ideas about how to do different things versus having a unified vision. Here you'll choose typical, I would think.
That's the one I tried earlier. Let's see if that's, I just got hung up or something.
Watching. Someone made a joke that like high level developers have like a developer mana, and that's why they have enough. That's why when they're there, computers always work.
I would say unless you have a reason to change this, to not. Just give it its best chance of doing the thing, you know.
Okay.
And you hit next here. And just go ahead and whatever password you want. And let's see. Yeah, all that stuff should be fine. And
Full access.
Yeah. And
Creating
you can
database.
choose those. They might come in handy later. I mean, it shouldn't affect anything one way or the other. Some of the stuff that it's going through as far as that user type thing, we'll actually go through towards the end of next week as far as,
Here we go. Okay.
there you go, cool. As far as why you might want to do something different than just use, yourself or use the built-in root user or whatever. But we'll talk about that when we get to that point next week. All right, so that was MySql. So you'll still have to install Workbench if you haven't installed that yet. Anybody else need a little help getting past anything? Okay, if you've already installed the MySql, make sure you got the MySql Workbench installed, and just kind of take a survey here in a minute to make sure everybody's got that. Kind of while we're sitting here, right now it's not such a big deal because we're just trying to get it all working and everything. But normally I'll ask that you guys have your cameras on so that I can kind of see if um, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, so to speak. I can tell, generally speaking, from seeing you guys' reactions and whatever else, if I'm doing a good enough job explaining something, or if I need to spend a little more time on something or whatever else. It helps me to make sure that you guys have have the information that you need to have. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move along a little bit, and this isn't anything that you guys will be needing those applications installed for. You can just let those applications run. We are going to actually talk about, and we'll just jump right in to what the purpose of all this stuff is, right? Like why even have a database, right? And I don't know, let's see, did I share yeah, I shared my screen. Did I share the whole thing? Let me make sure. Time screen. Okay. So let's see here. Let's get a diagram of a web app that uses MySql as a database. This isn't half bad. All right, you guys see this this diagram on my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So you guys have done some JavaScript, right? And in doing so, probably, you did some in Visual Studio Code, like inside a browser page, right? And you might have done something. Let's see. Let's see. Get a new window here. Actually, you know what I need to do? Come over here. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Okay. And let's do a new folder, and we will call this web app. Okay. And then inside here, actually, can I just drag this over here? Yep. All right. And here we'll do index.html, right? And Control I, please generate an HTML page with a section for scripts. So fill a form on there similar to a registration. Okay. All right. So this what's on my screen right now, right? You guys can see my VS Code.
Sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So if I were to open this by copying the path and just going over here to Chrome, throwing that in there. Oh, I was expecting to see something. Let's see. Why am I not seeing anything? I got my form. Oh, because I haven't saved it yet. Duh. All right. Okay. Right. Got a basic registration form here. Okay. And if we were to look at this, right, I don't know if anybody's ever told you this before, but HTML is what's known as a stateless system, meaning it doesn't know what it's doing. It has no memory. Okay. So like from one time to the next, it doesn't know anything about the previous screen, right? So I could enter a bunch of stuff here, right? Hit this button. Oh, it got fancy on me. There we go. Sure. Okay. So, excuse me. I just had bronchitis the last couple of weeks, and this all this talking's getting me. Give me a second to fix this.
You didn't save it.
Right. Oh. All right. Okay. Hopefully that'll save it for me now. Okay. Okay. Right. It's just a blank screen. Right. Just goes back to a blank screen. Okay. And that is because it wasn't made to be what we use it for today. Excuse me, I'm going to mute myself and hack this along out real quick. If I can figure out how to get back to, here we go. All right, so back to what I was saying. HTML was not designed to do what we do with it, okay? HTML was really kind of designed to just basically show data on a page. That's all that it knew how to do from the beginning, okay? And you would write something over here, you know, and then it would show it. That's all it would do, okay? And what we're talking here is like in the late 80s, 90s, when this was all, you know, being, you know, all set up and built for the first time. Okay. Now, what it can do is it can send information back to where it came from, but it can't do anything with it, right? And so, like, if we watch these network requests here, okay, it requested the page, right? There's a preview of it, right? There's the response that it got, all that stuff, right? You guys may have done this before, okay? Put some stuff in here, and then hit register, okay? Well, I didn't preserve it. Gosh, all right, try again. Okay. Let's see here. So, all right, so it did a post, right? That's what's, so with the HTML, you do a get, it pulls the form, you do a post, and it just sends the data back to wherever, right? And you can actually see what's being sent back, right? To whatever, okay? And generally speaking, the whatever part of that is a web server, right? Now, you guys haven't probably messed with a web server too much. You have probably just done like I just did here, just made an index page and then ran it in your browser, right? And you don't need a web server to do that, okay? But when you get a web server involved, two reasons. Number one, as time went by and people started, you know, more people started to have websites and put websites out there, then it became necessary to put all of this stuff on somebody else's computer, right? Put a whole bunch of them on there, and then that was a web server, right? And then you put in www.whateverwebsite.com, and it would go and pull this page from that web server, right? Well, then people got, you know, smart and said, you know what? I can have a script, i.e. a computer program, build this page for me on the fly, okay? And rather than, you know, having to type all this stuff myself, I could do things like here where the name is and, you know, the value is going to be, I could have it, you know, put this value in here for me, right? So this would be the, you know, the username, okay? And that is actually when things got really interesting. That's when web apps could become apps versus websites. That's the difference between a web app and a website. A website just shows you data, right? A web app has data that's stored somewhere, i.e. a database, and then you can use it to do things, okay? And that is what we're looking at here in this diagram. You've got the web browser, which is your Chrome, right? PHP over here, this is a scripting language, PHP. You guys probably heard of it. Well, there's a good bit of development still done with PHP. You're probably going to see more of like React and React Native. And actually, I'll show you an app that has React here in just a second. Okay, but this PHP script, right, this program is going to be running over here, talking to the database, getting data from it, putting data in it, right? So if you're over here on your registration form and you ran that registration form, it sent this data back to the web server. The web server is going to grab it and say, okay, well, I'm going to register this person. I'm going to put a record in the database for the person right here into MySQL. And then the next time they log in, it can say, okay, well, this is this person. This is the right password. I'm going to let them log in. And it actually builds a page in PHP and sends it all the way to your web browser via this web server, right? And so that's actually what a web app is, okay? And that's why we have a database, right? It's because this HTML file, he doesn't know how to store data, right? HTML cannot store data, right? So that data has to come from somewhere, okay? And the somewhere that it comes from is from a MySQL or other kind of database, and it's integrated with the HTML by whatever server-side scripting you have, okay? An example of that, let's see here, is this app here that I'm working on, okay? So this isn't PHP, this is React, and it's a little bit, different than that, but the idea is the same, okay? This, well, let's take this back one more step before I show you React. Okay. So up until probably 10 years ago, this was the way that you would make a web app. And this is still a valid way to make web apps, and there's still huge web apps being made, fresh today using this exact model. Okay, but at some point, someone realized, hey, everybody's computer is a lot more powerful than it used to be, right? And so why don't we put all this processing on their computer instead of us having to have this powerful web server that runs these PHP scripts and does all this stuff. And then we can leverage the JavaScript on their inside their browsers and offload a lot of this processing over to the client. And that actually does two things. When I say the client, I mean, your browser, right? And that does several things. Okay. One of the things that it does is it means that we don't necessarily need these ultra powerful web servers that cost us a ton of money anymore. And the second thing it means is it actually is better for you on your computer because now things are working faster. You don't have to wait for this web server to build you a whole page and send it all at once, because that's what it would do. It'd build a whole page, send it. Get a whole page, send it, right? Well, now we can send parts of pages, we can send just data, we can do all kinds of different things. And that's where things like React then come in. And React is, let's see. Okay. Well, anyway, so it's doing a lot of the processing and everything on your own, in your own browser. Okay. Now you still need a database somewhere. And so that's why you have like an API, right? So you got all of this code here. Let's see, let me get to some screens. All right. So we've got this stuff that looks similar, wherever it is, right here to HTML, right? Now this is React Native, not React for the web, okay? So it's going to look a little different. Excuse me. Sorry about the cough, guys. But anyway, it's kind of structured like HTML with these tags, right? And different things, right? And you can even have styling and everything down here, right? And all these things, right? But what this actually does is all of this processing where it's putting the selected filter and the item value and, all this other stuff that it does is actually that processing is happening on your computer inside your browser versus on a web server. Okay. But there is still the need to get data and to send data in and to get data out. And then that's what we use APIs for. And so here's the API service for this, right? And it's going to say, hey, I'm going to send data here. This is a post. I'm going to send data, right? Now here's a get. I'm going to get data, right? And if you go and look at where this is used, whoops, okay, keyboard shortcuts are not working. right, on my account page, right? So it's going to go get the account data, and then it's going to, right here is where it goes and gets it. And then it's going to say, hey, this is the data that you're giving me back, and I'm going to do stuff with it, right? I'm going to put it down here. I've got my sign out button. I got all that stuff, right? So, oh geez. Anyway, so all of that to say that at the end of the day, HTML has come a long way, and the reason that we have it is because HTML itself can't store data, okay? And so you got to have a place to put it, and so that's why we have databases, okay? All right. Any questions about that? A little bit of a history lesson. I got to see all that stuff firsthand, by the way. I lived it, so kind of cool. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a break. We're going to take 15, and I will stick around for a second if anybody needs help with your MySql or MySql Workbench. Let me know now. I'll stick around and help. Otherwise, I'm going to grab a bite to eat and then be back. I've got 1902. Let's just round it to the 20. Just everybody be back here at 20 past the hour. All right. Zach.
I wasn't able to get it to install. And
Okay.
that's why I left the class, because it restarted my computer.
All right. That's cool. You want to share your screen and we'll see what we can do?
Yes. So I'm trying to raise my hand right now. Is it sharing?
Let's
No, there we
see.
go.
All right. So let me see here.
So I was trying to organize everything right now.
Okay. All right. So looks like you were able to download the installer, right? And
Yeah.
let's see here. Okay. So go into there and let's see. Have you run that first one there, that MySQL 8? No, I'm sorry, the second one.
I have tried running this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I've done repair, change, and tried removing it.
Mm-hmm.
I
Let's
don't
go
know.
ahead and go the remove route here, and let's just see what happens. And when we did it a minute ago for the other person, this step here took a little bit of time.
Okay.
So, and then it popped up a window. So we want to make sure that window doesn't pop up behind anything. I don't think that it has yet. So.
Yeah. If you want to turn off your camera and eat as well at the same time, that's cool. You're muted.
Oh, I was gonna say I don't even know if it's ready.
Yeah.
I think I might go check though.
Okay.
All right, I'll be right back.
Okay.
do me a favor and hover over some of those icons at the bottom, like maybe that one on the far right. Okay. I guess we'll just wait.
So.
It might be that I don't know. We may need to reboot your computer and try that removal again and just see what happens. As far as that goes, kind of the rest of today, we're just going to be doing some exercises where we're going to be designing a database.
Right.
And so there's not really, you won't be missing out on anything if you're not able to kind of go along with this. Because actually what we're going to do is we're going to do it an incorrect way first, so that I can show you all what's, the right way versus the wrong way. And
Okay.
and so we're going to do it the wrong way first. And so definitely, I'm not even going to have you guys making any of that per se. So yeah, I mean, we got 3-4 minutes before everybody else is back. If you got time, if you feel like, the computer will reboot in that amount of time, which these new ones reboot pretty quick,
Mhm.
I'd go ahead and reboot it and, give it another try. Otherwise, just listen and,
Okay, I can do
it
that.
should be all right. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
All right. Thank you.
All right. let's go ahead and get started on the next thing here. If you haven't actually finished getting all of those things installed, MySQL and MySQL Workbench, no big deal. What we're going to do for the rest of this time period is more y'all just kind of be paying attention as I do a few things. And I'm going to be getting your input on some stuff too. We're going to design a database here together. And so you're not necessarily going to need it. I mean, there's some things that you could follow along if you wanted to, but nothing huge here. This is more kind of academic type stuff that we're going to be going through here. But I did want to just clarify, the difference now that most everybody has MySQL and MySQL Workbench installed on your computer. In a similar way, which I actually closed that. Let's see, can I get it back? There we go. In a similar way to how this PHP talks back and forth to MySQL, that's what MySQL Workbench does as well, right? So PHP, you write a program to talk back and forth to MySQL, okay? Well, with MySQL Workbench, we're just going to talk back and forth to it directly, okay? And so that's the difference between MySQL and MySQL Workbench. MySQL is the database, right? It's the computer service that's running very much like a web server, in fact, on a computer. It's not got a UI. There's no interface for it. There's no forms or anything. It's there so that you can make forms and then put the data from your forms in it and then get it back out. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Is MySQL is it's a service running on your computer, okay, and it can accept requests and respond to them, okay. And then MySQL Workbench is how we're going to talk to it. There are actually other ways to talk to MySQL. And you guys have actually already seen one of those when Jazz was sharing her screen, and we did that MySQL command line, right? So if we were to do MySQL-u root-p, put in the password, right? Now I'm actually connected to it. And if I put in here, show databases, right, it will actually show me that sys database right there. Okay, well, that's over here, this sys database, right? And so what you'll notice is over here on the left-hand side of your screen, you may be showing this administration piece first, but you should be able to click and see schemas. I think on Windows, it's actually down here at the bottom is where those tabs are. But on a Mac and on Linux, it'll be up here at the top, I think. If you can't see this, holler at me. I will try to.
Quick question, sir.
Yeah.
So for that, on that's the Workbench, right? Yeah, it's the Workbench. Did you create a new model, new query?
So when you first open it up, I haven't done anything. In fact, let me go ahead and close it and we'll start it back up. Let's put this over here. So I will say that I created this connection, which it should prompt you to do, right? If you have any problems creating that connection, let me know and we'll go through that. Once you have that connection created, right, and this is for root, that's me, that's my username, and the computer that I'm on is localhost, and the port that it's listening on is 3306. Okay, that's what all that stuff means. You should get just this screen right here. Now, it may start with the administration over here, and depending on how it's set up, you may or may not see any schemas at all. You may not see them. Right, does that answer your question? That's all I did was open it up here. And then here I've got this query 1, and this is where we'll start doing things, okay? Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, you bet. All right. Now, a little bit about the way that MySQL works, and that is different than, say, JavaScript, which my understanding is you guys have gone through a JavaScript prep course too. Excuse me. A lot of similarities, okay, but there's some differences too. And one of the ways that you can think about MySQL and MySQL Workbench, and then T-SQL, which is the language, SQL, structured query language. If you see T in front of it, it means transactional structured query language, which we'll talk about transactions. But since they're used for different things, there's going to be some differences, obviously. All right, and one of the things to keep in mind, and I'm just going to put some notes here. You guys can just pay attention. You don't, I mean, try to understand it. This isn't going to be something you necessarily have to memorize. I mean, it might show up on the certification exam, but this isn't the only time you're going to hear it. And also, as we go through this, you'll just kind of pick this up as, you know, second nature. All right. So MySQL itself, right, is the database service, right? It's where all the tables are, all the things, okay? MySQL Workbench, right? In the business, we call this a client, okay? It's a client to talk to the MySQL system, right? Okay. Now the database service, you can have, whoops. No, you can have multiple databases inside here, okay? To create a database, which you can do if you want to, or not, it's up to you, but you can come over here and hit create schema. All right, so let's talk about this word schema. If you hear schema, it's just another name for a database, okay? So create schema, create database, same thing, all right? In fact, when we go to write the SQL for doing this, which will look like this, create schema, you know, DB name or whatever, you can literally replace that with database. Well, you can if you can type, right? D8. Okay, so they're interchangeable terms, schema and database. If you work with Microsoft SQL Server, you'll never, I mean, schema represents the structure of the database, not the database itself. But in MySQL, schema and database are interchangeable, okay? But so let's go ahead and go over here and make one. Like I said, you can if you want, you don't have to. And, you know, just create schema and call it, you know, your own name if you want. So Mike's DB, okay? This isn't something we're going to use later, right? And then just come down here and hit apply. It'll show you the actual SQL query that it's going to run to do it. And then you can hit apply, okay? Now, and see, there it is over here, right? Mike's DB. Let's go ahead and make another one. Let's do it by code though. Create schema, Mike's other DB. Okay. Now, when you do it by code, it still does it, but you got to come up here and hit this refresh button. Okay. So now here's this other database, right? So the point is you can have a lot of databases. Okay. Inside every database, there's going to be tables, views, stored procedures, functions, and other things that actually are not shown here. Okay. All right. So inside there, and then you'd have multiple tables, right? All up inside MySQL. Okay. All right. Now, to prove that this is just one way to talk to it, and we can actually talk to it another way, I'm going to come over here and create a database. Mike's DB from the CLI. CLI means command line interface. Okay, do that, refresh, and there it is, right? Okay, so this is a client, the CLI client, okay? This is a client, the MySQL Workbench, okay? Just two different ways to talk to the service, all right? Okay. All right, now, I had a reason I was going over this. Oh, all right. So consider yourself as like, well, I don't know. It's kind of cheesy to think this way, but you're the boss, right? You're the CEO, the leading petty officer, the, you know, master sergeant, whatever. You're the boss of this system, right? And so you're going to issue it commands, and then it's going to do its best to follow those commands, right? So I just issued it a command, create database, right? Or I might have put schema, right? I don't know. You know, this DB, okay? So you're issuing it a command, okay? You execute that command by hitting one of these buttons up here. You can hover over them and learn more about them, right? But I've highlighted this script here. It's hard to see, but I have. And then I'm going to execute it, okay? It ran it, all right? So I've issued, right, a command. So you're going to issue a command, okay? And it does it, right? Once it's done, I don't need this command anymore, right? I already have the database that it made, right? This DB right here, right? So I don't need this anymore. I can get rid of that, okay? It has no effect on the existence of this DB, right? This DB still exists, okay? Keep that in mind. You're, like I said, it's more of a, you know, instead of doing this algorithm, you know, do this step, then this step, then this step, there is that idea to it. But always the point at the end of the day is you're issuing it a command, okay? And then it tries to follow the command as best as possible, okay? All right, so that's kind of a little bit of a difference between this and, say, JavaScript or other, you know, other scripting languages, okay? You don't need that script anymore. It's done, okay? So keep that in mind. So SQL statements, basically, you know, you're issuing commands for the SQL database to follow, okay? Like if you told, you know, private so-and-so, go sweep that floor, right? He's going to go sweep that floor, right? Same idea, okay? You don't need to keep, you know, you don't need to make that, you know, something that saved in a data file somewhere or saved in a file and to run again. Although in that case you might, because you might want to sweep that floor over again, but whatever, you get the idea, right? Okay. Any questions on the nature of it being basically you're issuing commands for it to do? All right. Okay. All right. So one of the things that you're going to tell it to do, and we're about to tell it to do here in a minute, is create a table. Okay. And then you're going to tell it inside that table, well, you know, tables are kind of like almost like spreadsheets, right? So if we come over here and go to sheets, right, and we have a blank spreadsheet, and you know we're going to have, here's a person, okay? That person, especially a military person, is going to have an identifier, okay? Your identifier is your DoD ID, right? Now, back in my day, we used Social Security numbers. I don't know if y'all still do that much, whatever. I don't know. But there's a thing, a number, right, or string of characters that uniquely identifies you, right, and nobody else, okay? So that's your identifier, okay? And then you yourself, you have properties, right? You have a first name, okay? You have a last name, although not everybody has a first name and a last name. Some people do, some people don't, right? You're going to have a date of birth, right? You're going to have a height. You're going to have a weight, right? You're going to have hair color, right? You're going to have eye color, right? You're going to have all of these properties, right? Okay, so these, just like they are in a spreadsheet, are columns. This would be like a table, right? So let's get there first. All right, so you know you might have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. First name, you know, Fred, Wilma, Barney, right? So forth. You guys get the idea, right? That's a table. Okay. You got columns up here. Okay. And then you got rows over here. So this is a row, this is a row, this is a row. Okay. And you could tell the MySQL database to say, give me the information where the identifier is 456. Okay. It'll go to the table. It does a scan. It literally, just like you would, says, okay, is it this one? No. Is it this one? Yep. I'm going to give them that one. Is it this one? No. And it'll just keep going, right? Even if it finds it the first time. All right. But anyway, that's what a table is. That's what columns are, and that's what rows are. Okay. And we're about to, here in a little while, not immediately, but we will actually design and build a table here. Okay. All right. So these are columns and rows. Okay. All right. Now, let's talk a little bit more detail about this identifier, because this is an important point. Okay. In very few cases will you make a table and not have an identifier for it. Okay. Almost every case you will have an identifier. Okay. And we generally use numbers for those identifiers. Okay? You'll understand that later and understand why, but just keep in mind that we're always, for general purposes, you know, obviously there's edge cases, different, you know, scenarios. But every row needs to be identified by a number. Okay. And we'll talk about that some more. All right. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to pretend that we have a music catalog. Okay. And we are going to I've got this form here. I'm going to copy the path. Okay. And we are going to put that here. Okay. So say that you have this web app, okay, and you're developing on it, and it's your job to basically collect information about songs, albums, artists, and then record labels, right? It might be that you want to have the name of the song, right? How long it is, when it was released, the genre, the album year was the year the album was released, how many songs or tracks are on that album. Okay, maybe we should have named this track instead of song. The artist name, age I don't like, I'll tell you why later. Primary genre of the artist, okay, because maybe you're a country artist, but you're releasing, you know, a different kind of, you know, song, or you're, you know, Aerosmith in the late 80s, and you do a crossover song with the Fat Boys, right? Then that's rap. You know, your primary genre is rock, but that's rap, right? So primary genre versus, you know, the song, okay? And then the record label, the year founded, location, and all that. All right, so we'll actually leave that artist age in there because I like having it for other reasons. All right, so anybody have any questions about like what our pretend app is and what it's doing? You know, we're just going to build a list, right? Okay. All right. So somebody, let me see here. Make sure I've got this set up. Preserve. Yep. Make sure if I post this, I can catch it. Okay. There we go. All right, I've got it. Okay. So somebody tell me a song. Well, actually, I'll go first. Let's see. Okay. Still tipping. Right? Mike Jones.
Phenomenal song, sir.
Okay. Let's see. We may just have to make up some of the information. So we'll just make it up. All right. So how long was it? It's probably about 5 minutes long. So, 296 seconds. 2006, probably. Rap. Mike Jones. And with that same album, 2006, I think there was 11. Actually, there's only about 9 songs on that album. Okay. And actually, in this case, the album and the user or the artist name are the same. Mike Jones, say he was, I don't know, 29, and primary genre was rap. And I do not know, but we'll say Murder Row in 1990-ish. And then we'll say Compton. I don't know. All right. So I'm going to create that, right? And this won't put it in the database. I didn't have that much time. But here we are. So here's a set of data that we want to put in our table. Okay. Whoops. All right. And actually, we got some nice column names here. Okay. And so we want to put this information in there, but we don't have a table yet. Okay. And in fact, we don't even necessarily have a database yet that we want to use for this. We could use any of these. But let's go ahead and make a new database here. And I'm going to call it our music catalog. Okay. All right. So we have this music catalog database. Now, since we have all these databases, we have to have a way for these commands that we're issuing, right, to go to the right database, right? Because if you tell, the yeoman, hey, go to the 50 cal on the aft deck and, shoot the garbage bags, they're not going to be able to do that, right? Not immediately, right there. So you gotta have the right database for this command. Okay. So the way that you do that is 2 different ways. Excuse me. You can double click it. Okay. And then it's not obvious, but it became bold. Okay. When this is bold, it means that the commands that you run over here in this window, okay, or any of the new windows that you can add, because you can just add new windows, right, is going to run against that database. Okay. Now, another way that you can do it, let me select a different database so you can see that I'm not lying. All right. Is you say use music catalog. Okay. Now, if I run this, okay, it selected that for me. See? And actually, when you double click this behind the scenes, all it's doing is running this command for you, right? So just FYI. All right, so that's how we select the database that we want by using it, okay? And here I'm going to create a table, okay? And we know that we want this information in it. So I'm going to just, and SQL actually is very fluent, okay? It's almost English in certain ways, right? But with very specific words that you got to use, right? So if I want to create a table, guess what? Tell it create table, okay? Now I have to give it a name, right? And so here I'm going to call it tracks, okay? So create table tracks, right? And then you got some syntax that you got to deal with, right? We're going to have a list of columns that we're going to put in here, okay? And those lists of columns have to be inside of a parentheses, and then you have to put a semicolon, oops, at the end of every SQL statement. That's called a delimiter, okay? This is how it knows you're done with that command. Okay, you gotta have it, all right? Okay, so we're gonna create the table tracks, and we're going to put some columns in here. And since I'm very efficient, I'm just going to take this right here. And let's see here. I'm going to go take it and, well, there we go. Put that there. And then data. Split text at the colon. Okay. Copy that. All right. So there's my column names, right? Okay. Well, one thing about the columns is, and we'll go through these in detail later. So for right now, just hit the I believe button. Okay. You need to know the data type. Okay. Well, the data type for almost every, like in JavaScript, this would be a string, right? A song name is going to be a string, right? I don't know how deeply you guys went into data types, but the way that MySql calls a string is this in var char. Actually, we'll just do the var char, not the in. Var char, okay? And all that means is it's variable length character string, okay? Now you have to tell it how long it can be, okay? And so I'm going to go ahead and say 255. Rule of thumb here is you make it as small as you think it could be that covers all your use cases, okay? So there's probably some pretty long song names out there, so 255, okay? The song length, now I'm going to put in seconds here because I'm not a jerk, and I want the guy that comes behind me to know that that's seconds and not minutes, right? So that's probably going to be an integer, okay, int, and we have to separate these by commas. Release year would also be an integer. Integer is just a whole number, right? Okay, genre would be another var_char. And let's just stick with 255. Album name, var_char. Album year, care to guess, integer, yep. Number of tracks would be integer. Artist name, var_char. Artist age, integer. Artist genre, var_char. Label name, var_char. Label founded, and I'm going to change this to year. And that's going to be an int. And then the label location, right? That's going to be a var_char. And then let's go ahead and add one more field in here, and we will call it the album. Let's say release price. Okay. Now I want to put a money thing here because the way that you do money, and we'll talk about this more later, is a decimal type. Okay. Now with a decimal type, you have to tell it how many numbers can be in this number, how many digits, right? And so if you had $100 or $123.45, that's 5 digits, right? And so pretend that this can cost up to $999.99, right? So 5 digits total with 2 behind the decimal place. That's how you read that, okay? And we will talk more about that later. All right. Now, I'm going to break my own rule here, and I'm not going to put an identifier here. Well, actually, I am. My bad. So let's just call it ID and call it int. And one of the things that we can do to make our lives easier is we can tell it, hey, you know what? I want you to kind of keep track of this number for me and put in a sequential number, meaning the first row I want to be 1, the second row 2, the third row 3, and just keep going up, right? And that would be analogous to coming over here and doing 1, All right, and then C2. Well, it did all ones. Okay, yeah, that's exactly what I was going for. 2, 3. Okay, so see how it auto incremented those for me, right? We're going to do the same thing here. And it's literally the word auto increment. Okay. And one more thing, I'm going to introduce a new piece of terminology for you. This identifier here, right, which we're going to name that the ID column. This is what's known as a primary key. Okay. So in SQL, a key is basically a substitute for the thing. Okay. Meaning the thing with a key of 1 is this row. Okay. The thing with a key of 2 is this row. All right. So the key, and there's other types that just decide a primary, is just a placeholder for the whole row. Right. So if you tell the database, hey, in our table ID 3, then it knows you're talking about the whole row. Okay. So just keep in mind that a key is just an identifier for a row. Okay. All right. So I'm going to come over here and type in primary key. All right. So this actually completes our table. All right. And if you're playing along and you've typed this up, that's great. You can now highlight it. Okay. And execute it. And if you've written it properly with no, mistakes, then it should, let's see. Why don't I have my, you should get a, there we go. This thing down here that says, all right, yes, sir, I did create table tracks. Okay, that's basically what that is. Okay, I didn't have any errors. I got my green check. Good, good, good. It took me 0.032 seconds. Okay, so I issued the command create table tracks. It said, yes, sir, and did it. Okay, let's go look and see if it's there. Okay, I don't see anything, so probably need to refresh. There we go. And there's our table tracks. Okay, and all those columns that I gave it. All right. Any questions on that? Come on. All right. Okay. All right, Ian. Thank you, sir. Okay. All right. So now we need to put this data in there, right? And so we're going to pretend that we're the script, right? That now we've got this table. The web server sent us this data here and said, hey, go put that in there. Okay. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you the efficient way to do this. Okay. I'm going to come down here, give myself a little bit of room, and I just collapse that. It's still there, although I don't need it anymore. I mean, theoretically, right? I've issued that command. It's a done deal. I can actually, whoa. I can actually comment that out, okay? This is how you comment it out, or you could do what I call C# style comments, but is really, you guys probably know it as JavaScript type comments, right? So you can do a block comment there, right? I actually don't need this either because I've already told it that's what I'm doing. So, whoops, that was weird. Okay. All right. So now I need to insert this data, right? Okay. This is a quick, yeah, we'll just do it. All right. So you can do 4 different things to data. Okay. Let's go back up here in the note taking area. All right. You can do 4 different things to data. Okay. Now, in general, these are known as the CRUD statements. Okay. Now you might think that stands for something, and you'd be right. Okay. So CRUD is create and create data. And data are rows. Okay. So you can create data, you can retrieve it. Okay. You can change it, i.e. update it, or you can get rid of it, i.e. delete it. Those are the 4 CRUD statements that you can do. Now, that is a little misleading, although it's 100% true, because the actual statements that you use to create and retrieve and update and delete are not always going to align with those. So for create, you do insert. Okay. For retrieve, you actually do select. For update, you still do update. That's fine. And then for delete, you actually do delete. Okay. So even though they're the CRUD statements, the SQL statements that correspond to them aren't 100% the same. Okay. So you got create, retrieve, update, delete is insert, select, update, delete. Okay. All right. Well, let's try those first. Okay. So we have a table, right? We called it something, tracks. Okay. Select. Okay. Well, what do we want to select? Let's leave that blank for now. Come back to that. From tracks. Okay. Semicolon. All right. Well, we could start typing this out. ID, song name, song length in seconds, blah, blah, blah. I'm tired, right? I'm already falling asleep. Don't care. We're not going to do that. Okay. If you want all the columns, then do star. Okay. But don't say star, say all. All right. So I would read this select statement as select all from tracks. Okay. Now we haven't put anything in there yet. We still run it. There's nothing in there, right? Excuse me. This call. I'm sorry. All right. This little thing that popped up here, this result grid, this is where the results of the select would be if there were any. Okay. Okay. Now, if you want to do just a few columns, by all means, do that. Okay. All right. So that was a select. Let's do an insert here. Okay. And we're going to insert this data. All right. So the easy way to do that is to come over here and right click the table and you get some options. Okay. Now, in your own time, review all those because they're very handy. But I'm going to copy to clipboard the insert statement. Okay. And now I'm going to paste that. Okay. And so it says insert into music catalog tracks, right? Now you see these tildes. Okay. Those tildes are the strictly correct way to do all that, but I don't like them, so I'm going to get rid of them. Okay. Just because they clutter it up. And as long as you're not using any kind of reserved words, then you don't need them. Okay. So I got rid of them, which is fine and replace. So this would work just the same as long as we substitute our data down here. Okay. And then another thing is we're already in our music catalog. And although this is strictly the correct way to write this, you know, I don't care. I just do it like that because it already knows that I'm in the music catalog database. I don't need that. Okay. Another thing I don't need is this ID column because I told it I wanted it to auto increment for me, right? So it's going to put that column in there for me. So I'm going to get rid of that. Okay. And then down here in my values area where I'm going to specify the values that I put in, get rid of that. Okay. And so now what we have here is an insert statement. And these are our columns of our database, right? Everybody can see that. Well, what happened to it? Okay, don't know how I scrolled 2 feet to the right. But those are our column names, okay? Now, the values that we're going to put in are basically these values here, which where'd it go? Oh, pulled it over there. Are these values right here. So I'm just going to copy them. Right. And over here, actually, yeah, we'll take those out because we don't care about them anymore. Come up here and paste it in. Okay, so we're getting close to running our first insert statement. You can see there's this X here, so there's something wrong. Okay. And so now let me lay down another rule of SQL is if you're putting in a string, like the song name, okay, then that has to be in single quotes. Will double quotes work? Yes, do not use them, okay? Only single quotes, right? Okay, and so this is a number, it's fine, right? This is a string, so we need to single quote it. String, single quote, number, 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 string, string, string.
Hey, sir, can I ask you a question?
You bet.
What what is the significance there? You said do not use double quotes. Is there, because we just got through the JavaScript thing, obviously they both work, and you said they'll both work, but what would be the issue that we would run into if we did use the double quotes in this specific situation?
They don't both work for every system, right? So for MySQL, it will work. For SQL Server, the Microsoft version, it will not work, right? So
Okay.
double quotes will not work. So just always use single quotes. You won't ever have to worry about it.
Okay, perfect. Okay. All right, thank you.
You bet. All right, now still doesn't like it. Okay, and let's go ahead and put some commas in here because we need those. Maybe that's what it doesn't like. Okay. Okay, and there we go. So we're going to get that put in there. Set that, do that. Just a little bit of formatting here. Now, a word about formatting is you can use whatever formatting you want, okay, for yourself. Okay. If you're working with a team, then whatever formatting the team uses, you use, right? Okay, so you could do this, right? If you wanted to, if that made more, helped you to, physically understand it better. You could put it all in, one long line, right? Whatever you want to do, okay? It doesn't care. SQL does not care, right? I can put all this here, okay? It doesn't care, okay? It's just white space to it. It knows because of the delimiter what you're trying to do, okay? Now, I like it like this, so that's what I'm going to do, okay? There is up here a beautifier or a prettifier or whatever you want to call it, that if you click it, it'll, well, it didn't change it much because it does it the way that I like it, but it can, if you've got it all messed up, you can come over here and hit this button and it'll give you some semblance of being formatted correctly, okay? All right. So I'm going to run this statement. We'll see if I did well enough and don't have any errors in it. Okay. Oh, I do have an error. Okay. Let's see what the error is. Column count doesn't match. All right. So what that means is, oh, you know why? Because I put in the album release price here, but we didn't ever have the album release price. So that would be under album tracks and above artist name. Okay. So the price for this was 1099. Okay. All right. So let's go highlight this again and try it. Okay, it worked, right? Got my green check mark. It said, sir, yes, sir, I've inserted into tracks, blah, blah, blah. There we go. And if we select, now we have it. Make this a little bit more clear. Okay. Now I've only selected the ID and the song name versus all. So let me change that to select all. And notice I'm just changing it in place, right? Because all I'm doing is issuing commands, right? I could do this anywhere. I could take this. I could open it in a new window over here, run it as long as I'm in my music catalog. Boom, there I get it. I could come over here to my CLI. Right, to get to that database, I have to type use, right? So use music catalog. And I could paste that in here. And it's ugly. There's the data, right? Still tipping, 296, 2006, rap, Mike Jones, okay? So keep in mind that we're just issuing commands, right? So like I said, it doesn't matter where you put this, okay? All right, we have inserted it, okay? So we've done an insert, yep, check mark for that one. Select, yep, we've done a check mark for that one, all right? Real quick, we'll do an update and a delete, and then we'll take a shorter break and then come back. So if I wanted to update that data, right? So what do I want to change? Let's see here. Actually, the name is wrong. Still tipping, right? It needs to have a it needs to have a single quote at the end of it, doesn't it? Okay. All right. Well, actually, let's show you the easy way to do that too. Okay. So I've edited it down here in this area. Okay. Now I can tab out of that and I can hit apply, and it's going to give me the SQL statement. Whoa. Okay. And I can either apply that or I can cancel it and come down here and paste it in. And I prefer to paste it in so I can show y'all. Okay, let's get rid of all of those tildes. Get rid of that. So update tracks, set song name equal. This is how you tell it, I really want a single quote here. I'm not trying to end the string. That's called an escape character, right? That dash or that slash means I want literally the thing after it. I don't want that to be, you know, the single quote that ends my string, okay? And there we go. So we can update it. Okay, great. Sir, yes, sir, I've updated it. Okay, come over here, run it. Now we got our single quote in there, right? So we did an update. Okay, you could do multiple columns, you know, whatever. Just do it in a comma separated list of column name, new value. Column name equal new value. Okay. We'll do more of those later. Okay. All right. And then let's just delete it. Delete from tracks where ID equal 1. Okay, we do that. And then we select. Now there's nothing there, right? Okay, so we're going to take a short break and we'll come back and we'll start putting in a lot more of these songs and stuff so that we can build a database. Anybody have any questions on what we've done so far?
No, sir.
Does it look hard?
Yes.
Yes.
It's not. Get that out of your head. It's not hard. We're literally just telling it, hey, create a table, right? Put these columns in it. Use these data types, right? Get that data for me. Put this data in there. Update it. Delete it, right? Okay. Yeah. So get out of your head that it's hard. It's really not. You guys will be picking it up real soon. Okay.
Could
All right.
you go back to the values? I'm still typing the. Yep. Yep. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet. All right. I'll come back at 20 past and we'll do some more. Have some songs ready for me.
Hey, Mike.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to sign off because I gotta get up early in the morning for work.
Okay.
And yeah, I guess I'll just watch the videos later because I honestly don't really know what's going on. I've been trying to install this and it's putting me at the root account password, and I've been waiting on it for an hour to load.
Oh, geez.
So I don't really know what's going on with anything.
All right, man. Good luck. We'll get it figured out.
All right. Thank you.
You bet. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Let's do a quick review over what we've accomplished here. And like I said, it doesn't matter if you're following along or not in terms of typing all this stuff in. All right. So now we talked that there's 4 things that you can do with data, right? You can insert, select, update, and delete. Okay. And those map over to the CRUD statements, which is create, retrieve, update, and delete. So really the only 2 different ones are these. Okay. But it's not uncommon, for a task to be, hey, go create CRUD statements for this situation. Okay. In which case you would just literally create, an insert, an update, a delete, and a select. Okay. So these are kind of the 4. You can't do anything else with data, right? That's it. These are the main things that SQL Server is made to do, or MySQL. Okay. Now, obviously, you can take 4 things and get pretty complicated, right? But don't let any of this falsely make you think that it's that hard to do. Okay. Because if it's coming across as hard, then that's on me, right? Because really, about the only hard thing so far would be the syntax. Okay. Right. As long as you know right now, CRUD, create, retrieve, update, and delete, and that maps over to insert, select, update, and delete, then you're doing great. Okay. So let's just focus on that for now. All right. And so let's reinforce that a little bit. Okay. Let's see here. Where is the... Oh, that's the registration form. Don't want that. Let's see. Don't want that anymore. Pull that over there. Where is our... Guess I closed it. Oh, no, it's got that submit on it. All right. We go and change that. All right. I need some brave soul to give me a song.
All right. So the song is Berserker. Song length is 4 minutes and 30 seconds, which is what? 240, 270? Yeah.
And I'm just going to pretend it was released in... Well, you got a release date, or you want to make one up?
Yep. 2017.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of something else. All right. Genre?
Heavy metal.
Okay. Album name?
East in Black.
Okay, you're gonna East End or Easton?
East, as in like a beast of monster. Beast.
Okay. East
in Black.
In Black. All right. And price about the same year?
Yep.
Okay. Number of tracks?
12.
Okay. Artist name?
Also Beast in Black.
Oh, Beast.
Mm-hmm.
All right. My bad. All right. I don't like this artist age. If it's a group like a band, then it could be how long they've been around or whatever.
2015. So that's 10
Okay.
years.
10 years. And heavy metal, probably. And any idea of their label?
Nuclear blast.
Okay, cool. You're founded
1987.
Okay.
And they are
where?
founded in Germany.
All right.
Donsdorf, if you're curious.
Okay. So we're going to do that. All right. We're going to get these guys. Let's come over here, pretend we're the web server. Here is our get. So another get. All right, here's our post. Okay, so I'm going to grab all of these. I am going to very efficiently split those up. Oh, why'd you do it that way? Oh, come on. You know what? We'll actually use that. Okay, so let's go over here to our workbench. Okay, and remember, we're issuing commands, right? So I don't need this one anymore. Although since I deleted it, I might want to put it back. Let's just see. All right, yeah, so it's not there. So I'm going to go ahead and put still tipping back in there, right? Okay, now I'm actually just going to hijack this command here. And let's see. I think I do want to make it a little easier on myself. Let's see. What can I do? We'll just manually do it. Okay, values. Paste that in there. Let's just break this up a little bit. Okay, Germany, 1987. Nuclear blast. Heavy metal. 10. East and black. 12. I think I'm losing track of what's happening here. Okay. Obviously, a web server is much more efficient at this than I am. Yeah, we're gonna have to go back to that spreadsheet method here in a minute. Okay. And I wonder if I can do this. No, that's stupid. Okay, 270, 2017, heavy metal. I'll take care of those pluses later. Okay. For those of you that are not typing along with me, I'm sorry this is taking for so long. For those of you that are, you're welcome for making it take so long. Okay, got a little bit more. All right, so we need our commas here. And we needed a price. I believe that price goes above the artist's name. Okay. Whoa. All right, this is 20. 17 time frame, probably what, 18.99? Who knows? All right. Okay, Berserker. Okay, we don't need to quote there because that's a number. Okay. Get rid of these, update and deletes because we don't care about them anymore. Okay, and then let's change that plus to a space. Okay, so Berserker, Germany, we don't need that semicolon down there. Okay. All right, let's see if we did it correctly.
You're missing a comma after heavy metal.
Ah, indeed I am. Good catch. All right, so yeah, we got it in there. Let's select all from tracks. Does it matter where I run this from? No. Okay. Wait a minute. What happened to? What happened to still tipping? I thought I put it back in there.
Did you run the delete on it?
I don't recall doing that, but we can check.
Action 15.
Yeah, there's that one. But I thought I ran it again. Well, in any case, we got Berserker in there. Let's see if I can. Yep. Yeah, Berserker's the only one. All right. Don't save. Clean this up a little bit. Okay. All right, somebody give me another song.
I got one.
All right, let's hear it.
I Wonder by Kanye West.
Okay. Let's see. I think this is, you know what? We'll go ahead and use that form. Let's see. You know what we can do? Let's make this a little easier, I think. Where's the other one? Not that one. This one. All right. So I Wonder. Okay. And the artist name is the Kanye. My kids call their grandmother Granye. Okay. Song length.
4 minutes and 1 second.
Okay. And came out. Release year.
Came out in 2007.
Oh, album name.
Graduation.
And that would be probably 2007 also.
Yes.
Number of tracks.
14. Or which number? The number of the song?
No, how many are on the album?
Okay, yeah, 14.
Artist age.
40, 45, I think.
Okay. Main genre. Label name.
Rockefeller Records.
All right. Don't laugh if I mix up.
ROC-A-Fella Records.
Okay. And founded.
Just say, I don't know. So just
Let's say
2007. Yeah.
Okay. And do you know where?
Well, Rockefeller, that's Jay-Z, so we'll say New York because that's where he's from, and me too.
All right. Cool. All right. And bear with me while I make this even more efficient. Oh, I need to concatenate those two, don't I? Okay. Believe me, this is going to pay off. Oh, we need to put a price in here. And we'll say 2007, let's say 1999. And we need to, I need to put that over here, don't I? All right. Okay. Do not need the last comma. All right, let's go ahead and run this. And let's see, did we get anything? Okay, insert in the tracks worked just fine. Let's go ahead and run our select. And then now we got Berserker and I Wonder in there. All right. Awesome. Okay. Anybody else got something?
Yeah, I got one.
All right, let's hear it.
It's called World on Fire.
Okay.
The song length is 3 minutes and 59 seconds.
Okay. Year?
The song was released in 2019.
Okay. Genre?
It is reggae.
Okay. Album name?
The album name is, oh, I just had it. It's a self-titled, so it's World on Fire is also the album.
Okay. And the year, probably 2019 for that. And how many
2019, yeah.
tracks are on the album?
15.
Okay. And do we care what it cost?
That I don't have, but I'm assuming it's probably something around there.
Okay. Let's just, for the sake of different values, I'm just going to put $20.99. Okay.
Okay.
Artist?
Stick figure.
Okay. Age?
They've been around since 2006, so that would be, what, 19 years?
Mm-hmm. Are they mainly
Also,
reggae?
they are, yep.
Cool. And label?
They have their own label, and it is called Rough Wood Records, RUFF Wood.
Okay.
And that label was created in 2006.
And where at?
San Diego, California.
All right. Kind of need a bigger screen, don't I? See if it got there. All right. World on Fire. Looking good. This is some good data. All right. Who else? It's okay if it's Taylor Swift.
That was my
No
other
takers.
choice, sir.
No takers on that? All right. Don't make me introduce you all to Red Dirt music. Live and Loud at Billy Bob's. Oh, is this? Yeah, it's the same one. Okay. So song would be, what's it called? CCR in Texas is cross Canadian ragweed. Everywhere else it's Creedence Clearwater Revival. Boys from Oklahoma. That's what it's called. Boys from Oklahoma. And I don't know, and that's probably 2005. And genre would be Red Dirt, which you've never heard of. And album would be Live from Billy Bob's. Album year 2005. Album tracks, I don't know, 9. 799. Artist name, cross Canadian ragweed. They worked together for probably about 12 years. Dirt. Label, I don't know. Call it CCR. Whoa. All right. Okay. Back over here to Workbench. Okay, what have I done wrong here? Oh, because of the, all right, y'all pay attention to this, right? There's that Billy Bob's, right? We got to escape that, so we'll do the escape character. Okay, so Boys from Oklahoma. All right, let's see if we can run that. There we did, and I left the select statement down there, so it ran that too. So there we go. All right, let's do one more song. Somebody. Come on. Don't make me call a name. Because I don't know where my things are. All right. Jazz, you gave me Kanye West one, right?
Yes, I did. I could give you another one.
All right, let's get somebody else involved here. What about Wayne Evans Jr.? Did you give me a song yet?
I did not. I can give you one.
All right, what you got?
Let's go Pretty Little Devil by Shea Zamora.
All right. Okay. Let's see. You care if we just make up this information here for the most part?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Okay. Genre on that one?
I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna say country. It's
Country rock or something?
it's weird. It doesn't
Okay.
really have a genre.
All right. And we'll just use the same title of the song for the label. Pretty Little Devil. And 2018, say, oh, we can't let them do 2020. Okay, say there's 14 songs and it costs $24.99. Who's the artist?
Shea Zamora. SHAYA.
Like that?
Yes.
Okay. Country label name.
I don't
Let's
know
just
that
say
one.
Columbia. And they are in Nashville, let's just say. All right. All right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 songs. Let's see what happens. Can I? There we go. All right. Now I'm going to put my still tipping back in there. Now notice our IDs start at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so if I put them in, he'd be the 7th one, right? Now, however, I'm going to go ahead and specify, I'm going to provide the ID, and I'm going to put a 1, right? And then that way it'll put them back as the first song. Okay, and we'll get rid of this. Actually, we'll leave that in there because we want that. And then we'll select all from the tracks, get rid of that, make sure there's no delete statement here because I undid a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, and boom, there we go. Still tipping. All right, so we got 6 songs. Anybody dying to put a song in? All right. We can do so at a future date if you want to. All right, but let's just now kind of go over some of this, what we can do. All right. Now, so far, what we can do, make this like this, okay. And I'm just going to get another query window to give myself a fresh workspace here. Right. We can do CRUD, create, which we've already done. We did that a bunch, right? That's the insert. Create, R in the CRUD is retrieve, right? That's a select. Okay, create, retrieve, update. That's update. All right, I got something going on here. Whatever. Okay, let's make these all lowercase. Now, typical SQL has always been written with uppercase keywords. Okay, I don't do that. Some people do, some people don't. MySql does not care, right? So if I come down here and do select all from tracks, okay, so I got a mix of upper lowercase, right? It's case insensitive, it doesn't care, okay? So you can do what you want. You can do, if you do the prettifier, it's going to make them uppercase keywords, okay? That's fine. Okay, doesn't matter. Likes it just the same, no big deal, okay? I just prefer lowercase keywords, okay? And I prefer to write SQL like this, okay? Now, will you see me do this sometimes? Probably so, right? Same thing, okay? Case insensitive, white space insensitive. All right. So let's talk a little bit more about this retrieval of data, okay? Well, you see retrieve is the select statement, right? I already told you all, well, I would read this as select all from tracks, okay? We could copy, let's see, should be a way to copy those. Copy field, no. Copy row. Interesting. Don't have the same options as I had on my other computer. On my Mac, I can right click and select all the field names. Oh, here they are. Copy all field names. All right, so I could take this and drop it there. All right, now I've got all the field names. I could run that. Okay, be the same thing. Format it, run it again, same thing. Okay, now it's just a whole lot easier, obviously, to do the select all. Right. Okay. Now let's talk about filtering this, right? Because you don't always want to. In fact, if you were, going back to our example that we've just almost abandoned of our form, which I cannot find it anymore. But you'd be wanting to put, one of these tracks in there. Okay, and so to filter it, okay, we're going to use the where clause. Okay, so watch this. Select all from tracks where, okay, ID equal 3. Okay, that's going to give us just this one row. All right, boom, there it is. Okay, so say for example, you had a form and you needed to populate it with this data from the database, so then a user could then edit it and save it back. This is how you would get that record. Select all from tracks where ID is 3. Okay, now let's go and look at all the tracks again. You could say, all right, well, I want all the tracks from before 2026. 2026, yeah, they're all for 2026, Mike. Where release year is less than 2020, let's say. Okay, so that would be this one, this one, this one. Well, it's going to be all of them. Okay, there it is. What if we did 2015? It'll be this one and this one, right? Oh, and another one. Okay. What if we wanted to know where there were more than 10 songs? We can do this. Oh, forgot my semicolon. Okay. All these songs are more than 10. Okay. What if we wanted to know the one that there was more than 10 and it was before 2015? So, and release year less than 2015. Actually, let's say 2017. Okay, so that's just this one. Now say less than or equal to 2017. There should be another one because, yeah, okay. So we filter it by the where clause, okay? You can do and, you can do or, you can combine those. You can combine a bunch of ands and ors. You can, well, actually you can do, all kinds of different things besides just feeding it hard-coded values, okay? All right, so what we have here is our database that we're going to be playing with. I am going to send you the database, okay? And I'm going to show you real quick how to get it up and running on your computer. And then it shouldn't take you very long. Should be able to do it before class period's over in the next 5 minutes, okay? So I am going to come up here, and this is something we'll do later, so you might want to pay attention to it, just having a little bit of preview of it. I'm going to go to server, data export, okay? I'm going to pick my catalog or my music catalog database. It's got my tracks table in it, okay? And I'm going to dump it to a self-contained file because that's how I roll. And I'm going to create it in a single transaction. I'm going to include the create statement. I am going to hit this. Let's see. Can I copy this? Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then we hit my start export. All right. Export completed. So what this just did was it just made this SQL file right here. Okay. I'm going to go see if I can find that. So home, mic, snap. All right. Home, mic, snap. MySQL Workbench community, 13, dumps. All right. So now if I take this and I drop it over here, I guess I can't do that. Can I do a file open and paste? You gotta be kidding me. I can't paste. Mike. Snap. MySql 13 dumps. Okay. All right. So here it is. Okay. It's going to create the database. It's going to use if not exists, music catalog, and it's going to put some extra stuff in there. Right. So all you guys need to do is you need to copy all this, which I'm going to send you. Okay. Get you a query window just like this, a new one. Okay. And you need to paste it in there. Whoa. Paste it in there, and then you'll hit run. Okay. I'm not going to do that because I already have it. So let me send this over to you. I'll just put it in the chat. Well, that really gets me. Okay. Chat is here. Good. Come on. Okay, so I put it in the chat. All right. Copy it. Right. Should be a copy button up there. So copied it. Come over here to Workbench. New query. Paste. And run. Okay. Now, if you've already done part of it, and I'll show you on mine, I'll just go ahead and drop this database over here. So drop it now. And so you can do that. You can right click and drop it, and then just run this and it'll create it. Okay. All right. Anybody have any trouble doing that?
Nope, all good.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, be sure you have that done before tomorrow's class, or if you need help at the beginning of class tomorrow, we can go through it because we'll be using that database. I'll have a set of tasks for you that we will do. Read in your coursework. Does everybody have this MySql backend developer course available to you? If you do not, shoot me an email and I'll get you access to it. Okay. Go through this introduction to MySql, which was just basically installing it and talking about it. And then this data types and data manipulation. Okay. Go through that because that's kind of where we're at. And then tomorrow we'll be doing a bunch of querying. Okay. All right. You got any questions, whatever, holler at me. I am a very busy person, so I will probably not check my email again until 5 o'clock tomorrow, which is an hour before I start this. And so my apologies for being slow on that, but that's just the way it is. So, all right, anybody have anything before we go?
Sir, I probably won't be on tomorrow. I'm traveling and I completely forgot my laptop charger, so I won't be able to have it to be able to check it or to watch at the airport tomorrow, but I'll be good after this. So just be tomorrow. I'll watch the video to catch up.
Okay. And I see, Jazz, that you can't copy that. I will email this to you, and then tomorrow I will get the recording and I will put it in a OneDrive file and share that OneDrive file with everybody.
Copy. Thank you.
All right. Thank y'all. See you tomorrow.
Have a good one, sir.
All right. Y'all too.